$474 million buying 21,257 jobs. I'm getting $22,000 per job. And the $2.8 billion by 79,637 jobs, I'm getting $35,000 a job, and that's over 15 months, which would be $28,000 a year. And that doesn't count material. Are these job estimates inflated?
Well, sir, they are not our job estimates. They are the job estimates that come from the FHWA. And so we did not have input into that. Dennis, would you come and speak to that? Because we are using FHWA estimates.
I would just say that the estimates are based on what the governor said, are based on the FHWA guidelines on how to identify job creation. And it's basically a formula per $1 million based on historic information. $1 million of federal aid highway dollars creates X number of jobs. I certainly don't have the formula here in front of me, but we can provide that. But it is based on a formula based on historic information.
We've tried to be very careful not to create our own numbers, but to use credible resources when we gave those estimates. Are there any other questions?
Is there any expectation that the projects that didn't make the cut could still get stimulus money out of the discretionary or the competitive grant pools of stimulus money that's available?
Thank you for that question, because there are opportunities available to our state to seek additional federal resources through competitive grants, and we certainly will be doing that. And I think it is reasonable to assume, Mark, that if there were worthy projects that were not funded in this way, that they certainly could be considered for additional, for support through additional resources that we may get through the competitive grant process.
Governor, on the transportation-related issue, the transportation budget that you submitted seems to be hung up in negotiations. Is there going to be any movement on that? If there isn't movement soon, are you concerned?
I am very concerned, very concerned. I have expressed that, the depth of my concern to some of my colleagues in the legislature. But we are continuing to work, at least on our side, in good faith, to try to come to a resolution of serious remaining challenges that we face.
Give us a prognosis of when that will happen.
Well, it would be my hope that I would get a bill in time to give it proper attention and perusal so that it can be signed by Tuesday night. But that will depend upon the willingness of all of those involved in these negotiations to work in good faith to try to resolve difficult issues.
Governor, how flexible are you on the proposal that you put into that budget on the tougher seatbelt enforcement and the cameras to catch speeders in highway construction zones? Are those things you can compromise away and get a final bill?
Let me say that as governor, I don't expect to get everything that I may have asked for. I understand that this is a process of negotiations and give and take. But in order to have good faith negotiations, you need good faith efforts on both sides. So there are areas that I will be willing to compromise on. But I can tell you that there are some essentials in this bill. The ability for us to continue to have an adequate funding mechanism for our highway patrol is very important to me. And as you perhaps know, this agreement regarding the evaporation tax credit is hugely important to our state. It could involve up to $200 million that could be used to put people to work, to create jobs. And so there are some important issues yet unresolved, but I try to be an optimist, and I remain hopeful that working together in good faith, we can find solutions. These are tough times. Just let me emphasize this. These are very difficult times, and nearly every family in the state of Ohio is making sacrifices. We have reduced funding for many of our state agencies. And so I think it is fair to expect the petroleum industry to make a reasonable sacrifice as well. And so we're trying to be reasonable and as accommodating as we can possibly be. We are working diligently, and my door remains open, and we will continue to work through the remaining days and hours leading up to the time when this bill needs to be completed.
You didn't list the rail passenger among the essentials. Does that mean you've got agreement on that, you think?
Well, I continue to work with the Senate regarding some language pertaining to passenger rail. I think we are a large part of the way there, but that's one of the issues that we will continue to talk about.